Okay, we have number 4 up here now, and we have Defiled Shrine as our landmark. We have to start paying attention to those things apparently to be very thorough in our assessment of the kingdom. So far, it seems like you just want to play a lot of grand markets. You can get thin with Forager. There is Necropolis, which is very, very important, being your only source of plus action on the board. It looks like you want those actions to be a couple of bridges. So lots of grand markets, a couple bridges, and Menagerie can draw everything. So that is nice. There's also Mystics, which is cool too. I'm not sure how many Mystics you want in your deck, because they're not going to reliably draw, and you would really like to play grand markets rather than Mystics. So I open Forager Workshop against my opponent's double Forager, something I considered. Of course, the double Forager opening. I do pick up a second Forager straight away on turn 3 here. That was part of my plan, and part of the reason for going, well, not part of the reason for going for the Workshop first was to try to put some pressure on the Menagerie pile. I want to get a lot of those things. Feel like if I have a lot of Menageries, then that will hinder my opponent and help me. So I do manage to pick up a Menagerie here. Unfortunately, I was not able to buy another 3 course. I did not want to convert the hovel into an estate or to pick up a courtyard, although the courtyard is not entirely unreasonable. But with so many cards, stop cards, so many cards like Forager and Workshop in my deck, the courtyard didn't seem to play too nicely with those, so I didn't pick up one. So Menagerie for my opponent, I pick up a Menagerie myself here, and 5 for my opponent. So he could get Mystic here if he likes. Could get Mystic. Also, the Defiled Shrine is up to 6 points now with my opponent's bridge by, and he does take the curse here to take 6 points off of the bridge. I do trash the copper there just to get a bit of draw with the Menagerie. I know that there is a Workshop in the bottom of my deck, and I will find it if I play the Menagerie. So again, not trashing the Overgrown Estate because I don't want to trigger a shuffle. I pick up a bridge here and another Menagerie. So maybe double Menagerie is the best thing to do there. Not sure. This is not the greatest draw in the world, of course. I have to be very careful not to trash my Necropolis. I have done that in the past, trashed the Necropolis when it was the only source of plus actions, and then I wonder where it's gone halfway into the game, only to realize my folly. So far the Workshop hasn't actually helped me to pull ahead on the Menagerie split, honestly. So I'm not really sure about the value of it. Another plan that I had with the Workshop is that I can put a bridge in play and then use the Workshop to gain Mystics. A few Mystics would not be entirely unreasonable in the deck that I'm trying to build. So I did plan at some point to trash the Workshop with the Forager and then, replace that terminal slot with a second bridge once we start going after the Grand Markets. It's a little bit scary to have duplicate cards in your deck for the Menagerie around, but just the couple of bridges should be okay to trash things. Now this is a very unfortunate turn for me here. I was really hoping to get my Workshop into play and to buy another 3 cost, probably a pair of Menageries. This turn actually costs me the split on the Menageries. I'm only able to pick up 4 of them. I do choose to play the Workshop here. I did buy a courtyard on my last turn, and triggering the shuffle drew me into that courtyard. So no dice for me there. I could have easily drawn into the Necropolis, for example, and that would have been a lot more helpful. So a couple points about Menagerie. Menagerie works more quickly with the shelters in your deck. They're all unique. It makes buying the curse for the defiled shrine a lot easier because the curse is also unique, so that could trigger menagerie. The forager will gobble up the curse happily as well, so um, buying the curse for the defiled shrine here is a bit easier than usual, I feel. So finally, I'm able to draw everything here. Again, there's no need to trash this overgrown estate, so I'm not going to trash it. I instead trash a copper. I do refrain from trashing the courtyard. That still could be useful. Maybe. Probably. I'm not sure if it will be. I don't have enough money to pick up Grand Market here, but I definitely have enough money to pick up a pair of Mystics. Well, I workshop one Mystic, and I do take our curse here for the points. At that point, my deck is very nice and clean, so I had little problem picking up the curse there for the 4 points. I didn't want to run into a situation like last game where my opponent just took a huge lead off of the landmark and used that to press their advantage. So here I have to guess Menagerie with this Mystic to continue my turn, and luckily it's at the top of the deck. Very lucky to have that happen that way. And now I have enough money to go picking up the Grand Markets. So I just play this Mystic. There's nothing to guess with it though. I trash the Courtyard here. Again, holding back on the Overgrown Estate. I may need to use that card draw later on. I may need to use it later on, so I'm not going to trash it. There was some argument here to trashing the copper. I may have been able to buy 2 Grand Markets. I'm not sure. But anyways, I do pick up a Mystic and a Grand Market here. And this is the danger of having all these Mystics in your deck, right? I really have to wish for Menagerie here to ensure that my turn does not stall out. A couple Grand Markets for my opponent, and he picks up a Curse here. Maybe I should have picked up the Curse on the last turn to get the points. I trash the Overgrown Estate finally. Finally, I trash the Overgrown Estate to get the card draw, and I needed it on this turn, so I'm pretty glad I held back on that for a turn when I needed it. I guess for a bad card with the first Mystic, because if there's Menagerie on top, I'll draw it anyway. So I guess for the workshop it's not there. Turns out that Menagerie is on top, so that's very, very helpful. Necessary to keep me into this game. And at this point, I probably don't want to pick up any more Mystics. This incident here has scared me enough. So what I was saying is when I picked up the Grand Market there and I moved the last VP onto the defiled shrine, I probably should have picked up the curse as well there. It was perhaps a slight misplay on my part because for the reasons I mentioned before, right? Menagerie doesn't hate it, and I can trash it to Forager, which is running out of food actually. So perhaps I should have picked up the curse there. That would have made the point situation a bit closer. I think we'd have been level actually, 6-6. As it is, he has this 4-point advantage. And here's the interesting part of the game. We're very close to the end. Very close to the end with the estate pile being very cheap with bridges in our decks. My opponent makes an interesting play here. He goes for 3 Grand Markets, which I thought was fine and actually winning. Because so first of all, I need to guess. The only way this turn works is if I guess workshop and guess it right, because I need something to trash to the forager, and I would love to trash the workshop to my forager. As it turns out, I get super lucky again here, and I'm actually able to draw through my deck even though I lost the Menagerie split 6-4 here. So it turns out that wasn't too big of a deal. And what I end up doing here is going for points. I feel hopeless though, because I feel like my opponent has locked me out of the game with a triple Grand Market purchase, but instead he's actually opened himself up to a 3 pile, which I missed. Very ordinary play for me. If you want, you could pause the video and look for the 3 pile here. But again, this is very ordinary. I should be picking up on the 3 pile opportunities that I have here. Is pause for a moment, thinking about whether or not it's worth it to pick up the estates. Maybe that might help prevent my opponent winning his next turn, but I don't think it does. So I don't pick up anything here and just pass it over to my opponent. After the game, he actually pointed out the 3 pile To me, he said I should have played my second forager and I would have had enough money and buys, exactly enough on both ends, to pick up the remaining foragers, Grand Market, and a province, which would have given me the win. So, as it turns out, I miss out on a point here, and I only have myself to blame. Another interesting thing here is that we did not put pathfinding at all on any tokens. The game just went too fast, I felt, and I would much rather spend my money on grand markets. I'm not sure how the workshop thing worked out. This is an awful hand, by the way. Can't do anything on this hand. So I'm not sure how the workshop worked out, whether it was worth it to go for that or not, but my opponent didn't. He skipped it and he went straight for the bridge, and he seemed to be in a slightly better position for the in most of the game. Anyways, that is game 4. Comments, questions, feedback. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you.